may have a different view of that, but when we're talking about First Amendment public policy issues such as supervising people involved in government, I think that is something the court can take into consideration, not to have a show like that on that. I'll spit on that, Your Honor.
Right. Mr. DeCastro, please stand. I hereby sentence you to 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 1, 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 2, to run consecutive for a total of 108 days in custody. Thank you.
Sentence suspended or?
Oh no, I'm going to start right now.
Not surprised that there's a verdict, but I will say that I don't think that both parties in that courtroom, when they entered the courtroom, knew that this was coming. We knew from our team reporting inside the courtroom there that Trump was joking very visibly with his lead defense lawyer, Todd Blanche, who was laughing so hard. Who knows what they were talking about, but laughing so hard, according to our Peter Charalambos inside the courtroom, that he almost hit his head on the defense table. Now, the vibe, it appears, inside that courtroom has dramatically changed. Apparently, Trump has leaned back in his chair motionless. The judge has stepped off the bench. There's no more joking at that table. I'm just reading this reporting, Kana, that's coming in.
So it's really awesome to share a historic moment with all you guys in 2024. And I know that I caught myself there on the sound. For some reason, there's still a compatibility issue. I had a tech guy coming out here a couple times to try to figure this out, and we still haven't been able to get it squared away, but hopefully it wasn't too bad. So really quick, we got two really amazing things that happened. I think, 34? Was it 34? Put it in the comments if you know how many it was. I think it was 34 felonies for Trump and 2 misdemeanors that were stacked for Chille. But the purpose of this, so before you guys lynch me and tar and feather me, I know that a lot of Chille's audience hates Trump. I get it. I totally get it. But I know there's another part of Chille's audience that supports the Second Amendment, which makes that impossible for them to support the Democrats. And so there seems to be, and that's one of the interesting things about Chille that I find actually pretty cool, is that he's able to attract both of those elements, because I think that that's what a real leader would do, is attract both elements. So that's a couple points for Chille. But anyways, let me just look over to the sidebar really quick. Everybody, I hope everybody is having a happy 5/30/24. I believe today is Thursday, so happy Thursday to everyone in the United States and all the friends of Americans abroad. And hey, how's it going, BZ? Good seeing you, buddy. And hopefully I've got other people that showed up today. One of my viewers, before we get into this anymore, a little housekeeping, as we would say in law, a little housekeeping, Your Honor. One of my viewers had a question about police liability for police flashing lights, setting off an epileptic seizure. So I've got my team working on trying to figure that out, because it's such a novel issue of law. And we're going to try to do, hopefully tomorrow, a live about that. Like, is there liability and how could there potentially be? And go down that, because that's what I try to do. Is if it's one of my viewers and they have a question, I'm trying to respond to their questions. And this seemed like a really cool one, because I've never seen anybody ask a question like that before. So really, really quick here. Let me just look in the sidebar. Hey, Chevy, good seeing you, buddy. And Jim Duthet, good seeing you. And I know the people in the sidebar who support Trump aren't going to admit it, so I get it. That's fine. Because that's not why I'm here to talk about Chille and Trump. I'm not here to talk about whether you support either one of them. I'm more here to talk about how there are certain personalities that can absolutely charge people's batteries while at the same time enraging others. And you'll find that the corporate types are always trying to placate both sides. And ultimately, when one side gets stronger than the other, the one in the middle, the placator, is the one who usually gets squeezed the hardest. And I think that Stalin or Marx called people that do that useful idiots trying to placate people. And that's what I appreciate about guys like Mr. Trump as well as Chille, is there's no nonsense and well defined. My dad always told me, even if people don't like you, at least if you're defined, they'll respect you. And so I don't know if that's true or not, but I've always tried to be defined. And I just don't think that you should ever put your faith in men, because God doesn't give men wings like angels. We need to hold our government accountable and look for the most honorable representatives to lead us. That being said, I've got Wanda Nise. Thank you for showing up. And then BZ Watchdog, as always, thank you so much for showing up. I've had a really rough day. I've been up since about 03, working my butt off, trying to get all this stuff handled. Not about YouTube, but work-related stuff. And Katie Fry, thank you again for coming. And Let's OTVO, too bad you couldn't show up. So I'll try to do this show pretty quick. You got an opportunity to see what's going on. So one of the things that people are talking about, as another matter of housekeeping, is that how judicial bias could play a potential role. And so we have the canons of judicial ethics, or whatever your state may call them, but there's typically canons that judges are supposed to abide by, almost like an ethical code, but it's stronger for judges because they have to avoid the appearance of impropriety. They can't just be improprietous, or they just cannot not do bad things. They have to also look like they're not doing bad things. And so under those canons, there are certain things that judges aren't supposed to do, and certain things that judges are supposed to do. And so typically police and other officials aren't supposed to do or not do those things. So one of the arguments that Chille has been making is that basically, at least from what I can understand, this is because I'm getting this from the same public sources you're getting it from, is that the court is biased, that the court apparently has a bias towards law enforcement because of a past relationship, as well as, what was the other one? Oh, married to the head of the Nevada ACLU. And so I can tell you as a lawyer, that would give me pause for thought. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to be trying to bring some kind of civil rights spotlight on a judge that was married to the head of a organization that stands for civil rights. I mean, I don't know. I think politically it could be bad. I don't know. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. I mean, I'm just a lawyer from another state, but I just don't. So for me, I think that is a potential issue. And I don't think there's any way around it, unfortunately, other than to just, one of them has to step away probably, because it does give the appearance of a problem, at least from my perspective. Now, and with Trump, you have one that gives a problem of an appearance of impropriety as well. News reports are coming out that the daughter of the judge has been accepting millions of dollars in payments from Democrat affiliated organizations. And so naturally, that's going to make the other half of the population who supports Trump not too thrilled, right? I mean, that's the problem, is the other side just casts aspersions on the people who think that this is not fair, instead of saying, hey, you know what? That doesn't look fair. You're right. It's like this big political battle. That's why I encourage all of my viewers to step away from politics and just try to judge fundamental fairness, because I think once politicians see that we don't tolerate shenanigans anymore, maybe they'll stop doing the finger pointing and try to do things that might be able to help their fellow countrymen. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with that statement. So anyways, with respect to Judge Merchan, it appears as though the daughter worked for the Democrat Party and was a hardcore activist. And then we know that I'm just trying to present all the sides, okay? So don't try to accuse me of being political or being a Trumpster, because this is the stuff that I get when I do these reports. So hold on. I did some additional research. Well, not me. I actually paid somebody. And here's what I determined that, okay, so we did the math, and the percentage difference between the number of Democrats and Republicans on Manhattan, where the jury pool is made up, is 147.506%. And so, based upon those numbers, my team concluded that Trump never had a chance. So, that is one difference between Mr. DeCastro and Trump, is that Chille had a access to an actual jury. If it would have been a felony, but I guess because it was a misdemeanor, if there was one misdemeanor only, he would have been entitled to only a trial by judge. But apparently, somewhere along the line, something got waived or something happened, and nobody's really explained this to me. So I'm hoping. So I'm hoping that one of my viewers can put it in the comments. What's going on with respect to the actual verdict, and well, not the verdict, but what happened. Like, why was a verdict taken away from a jury and just given singularly to the court? Like, who elected, or why was there a trial by judge? Because my understanding of Nevada law, from what I've read and the conversations that I've had with Nevada lawyers, is that because there was the potential of stacking because of two misdemeanors, that automatically Chille would have been entitled to a trial by jury unless it had been waived. So I know sometimes people go for the trial by judge thing. I'm never a big fan of that. But let me look in the sidebar here. Yeah, well, BZ, I'm not going to ask him that unless he volunteers that information. But hey, Diesel, good seeing you. I appreciate it that you joined us today. So I did this cool. Okay, so anyways, a lot of people were saying, you're making this up, Mike. The Judge Merchant and his family are not biased. These are all lies. You should fact check it. And so, of course, my instinct is, well, okay, fine. I'll take you up on that this isn't all just some big political thing. In New York, the most political state government ever in the history of the United States, according to many. So, hey, Christopher, free Chille. If any of you have ever seen the movie The Gangs of New York and saw the payoffs to the local politicians, that's how a lot of people still think about New York and everything about New York. And so in this particular case, we know that Manhattan, where Trump's jury was, had a 147.506% jury pool of Democrats versus Republicans. So we know that it's a Democrat stronghold. And then us lawyers, just as an aside, know, like, for example, if we're bringing a Second Amendment case, we're going to bring it in the Fifth Circuit because it's going to die in the Ninth or some other liberal district. And so in the same way, politically charged prosecutions against Republicans are always sought in DC or in, some part of New York. Everybody knows that who's a lawyer, right? It's just common knowledge. Now, for example, the Ashley Babbitt case, nobody thought that case had a chance because it was DC. I mean, DC is like, what, 199% liberal Democrat, right? So how would a Democrat jury ever help somebody like Ashley Babbitt's family or survivors? Well, somehow or another, with the help of Tom Fitton, the case got sent to San Diego. So now she has a chance. So that's a wild card. So you learn that from me because you won't hear that on the for-profit media. So just look it up. I did a video about it. It's on my channel. So now there's a lot of people who hate Trump, including Chille. And I know BZ Watchdog's no fan of him. And I get it. And that's good because that's why I chose this example and why it was so opportune for all of us. Because they're both unpopular. And so I like to look at the facts and the underpinnings. And so when people start saying, hey, you're making up stuff or you're a conspiracy theorist, I went right to the horse's mouth, to the most far left fact check place you could find to see, is there any validity to the judge in either one of these cases being potentially biased? So I went to Snopes first, because obviously the judge in Chille's case is not probably famous enough to be in a Snopes piece, right? So, beg your pardon. So what I did is I went to Snopes and I just took a look and I was like, well, let's take a look. So I asked, is the daughter of this, in this Trump judge case, like in the tank for Democrats? Let me entertain it, right? So I'm assuming right away Snopes is going to say, oh, no, it's a lie. You know, it's missing context. But no, it's true. So she apparently is a hardcore far left activist in the Democrat Party, and indirectly, that's what she does. Her dad, apparently, the judge in the case, is a hardcore left winger too. And so that's the problem is, guys, I'm not like trying to put down the judge or the process even. It's just that this gives the appearance of impropriety. And that's what I was trying to tell you guys earlier, is it gives the appearance of impropriety. So here's part 2, and then we'll get into the slideshow. I love doing the slideshow. By the way, everybody, thank you for coming. Let me look over in the sidebar here. So thank you, Wanda Mise. She's saying that it's not even a court, it's an administration, right? So what Wanda apparently is saying is that the Biden administration is directing these state-run prosecutions through Soros prosecutors. And everything that Wanda is saying, if that's what Wanda is saying, is actually supported by factual evidence. It's just the question is, the politically charged people, you know, if you're far left or far right, you're going to take sides, and so it's impossible to, what do they say? What do they call it? Cognitive dissonance. And that is one thing I did appreciate also about Chille, is that he didn't suffer from cognitive dissonance. He hated everybody equally. He often reminded me of Gunnery Sergeant. I am Gunnery Sergeant Hartman. Yeah, Hartman. You know who he was from Full Metal Jacket. For guys in my age group, like my dad thought that was the best movie ever, and he was a real Marine. And also, let's go. Hey, Mama Lion, so happy that you joined us. That's so awesome. Everyone's doing good, Dawood, and I did forward that information to Alan, but I know that he has been doing a lot of prep and super busy, so not heard back from him, but I will let you guys know ASAP. And DLZ for the win. Oh, that's right. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure to let's overturn Terry versus Ohio. Now, I don't have a trifold or a cop card to show you, but I do absolutely invite everyone to go over to Delete Laws and donate or buy memberships. Do the, what do you call that? The super chats. And just try to help him out. Show your support until he gets out, because he's not been able to run his channel. I know I'm a second stringer. I mean, look, I got 36 people in my chat. I should have 1 million. What are you talking about? But I only have 36. In his chats, he's getting 200, 300, 400 or more. So that tells you that I'm not like the best, but hey, at least I'm trying to keep something going on. And I do see a lot of you guys as being the core supporters who actually want to learn the law. So that kind of makes it cool for me. So let me just really quick look in the sidebar here. So DLZ for the win from Real J Rockstar. Thank you so much. And Wanda Mise is a man. Really? I didn't know that, Ghost Man. Wanda, if you are a man, you've got to tell me, or maybe you have and I didn't notice. But Wanda, it sounds like a girl name, in at least for where I am from, because I'm a Yank. So don't hold it against me. So OTVO, yeah, let's give it to him. Give me OTVO, yeah. All right, so let's get back into the slideshow. Oh, wait a minute. So that's right. Well, we kind of determined something. We determined that the daughter of the judge is like a super hardcore left-wing activist. We know that the judge is a super hardcore left-wing activist, according to many. And so And then we just learned this, that I guess she raised. Hold on, let me try to get some better sound here. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. So it looks like she raised like $93 million off of this case somehow. I don't know. There's a bunch of stories about the family. Hold on. $93 million in campaign donations. So she's done that. I don't know. Something's going on. There's just more to this than meets the eye. So I wanted to throw that out you because, there's some political stuff going on in Chille's case too. And so that's why I did this cool slideshow. So basically, the way I look at it is they're both vocal advocates for the Second Amendment. These are the comparisons, all right? I mean, look, this isn't perfect, but look. It's kind of cool because it shows you political persecution in the many ways that it can raise its head, like the Hydra, right? You cut one head off and it comes up the other way. Trust me, anybody as popular as Chille or becoming as popular as him, based upon the reports that we know now about the data mining by government agencies at the federal level who are classifying people who buy Bibles or guns from Dick's Sporting Goods as potential violent extremists, or people who are single issue voters as potential violent extremists. We know that they're going to be definitely targeting guys like a Trump or a Chille because they both support the same types of things. Second Amendment is the big thing on the list of the Leviathanic thinking, right? The big government, administrative state. The first order of the day is to severely restrict and ultimately eliminate the ability of non-government related personnel to be able to own firearms. We all know that. I mean, it should be readily apparent to everybody by now, to all of you. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree that that is the ultimate goal of an Orwellian type of a government, to disarm the commoner, to keep them from being able to defend themselves. So we see here that when you look at Donald Trump versus Chille DeCastro, Second Amendment and First Amendment, that Donald Trump has been a vocal advocate for the Second Amendment. He also worked to expand gun rights, and he appointed justices who did just that. And working off of DC versus Heller, which is a case, by the way, Chille is good friends with Dick Heller, he was able to expand firearms rights. And because of that, guys like Alan Beck were able to get into Hawaii and open up our fundamental and God-granted rights to keep and bear arms to what they used to be prior to the slow erosion over time by use of leftist type courts, according to many. So, yeah, I love all the ones, guys, by the way. I really appreciate it that you're joining me. So the other thing that we see that Trump apparently supports more, but I don't have evidence to go against it, whereas I do have evidence to go against it on the other side, is that he does seem to be more of an advocate for the First Amendment. He wants to force these social media companies to abide by Section 230, which I don't believe they have been doing. And so he has this opposition to censorship. And of course, the Hunter Biden laptop gives him a good reason to feel that way, because we know they say 20% of Democrats at the time said they would not have voted for Biden had they known that the Hunter Biden laptop story was true. But we know that that was buried and people lost their social media accounts if they talked about it. So we know that that was an inside job, according to many. So now the rhetoric, the Trump against the deep state, very similar. So we know that Trump spoke against the entrenched bureaucrats and people working against his administration's agenda. And he took steps to remove and replace officials within government agencies who were part of the deep state. But now with respect to Chille, well, he was more into viewing gun ownership as a critical means of self-defense to fight against government tyranny. and he supported minimal restrictions, and he does support minimal restrictions on firearms. Now, he also supports heavily the First Amendment, of course, and protest and political speech to the point where a lot of people think Chille's a jerk. And that was where I was trying to get with this, guys, especially with you, BZ, is that both sides think that he's a jerk personality wise. And I feel because of that, they're happy that the guy they don't like got in trouble. And I don't like that philosophy. I think that's a really bad idea, guys. I think that you need to really step back and be careful about how you're thinking. And we saw how Mao Zedong was able to turn children against their parents. And popular opinion should be no basis for being happy about the unfair application of justice. It's the one thing that we should hope and pray to God that we have that can protect us. And so that's why I wanted to do this, because I know so many people hate Trump just because he's Trump, right? And I know that so many people hate Chille just because he's Chille, or because of something someone said about him, or a report someone wrote about him that a court may have accepted as true in his absence, or whatever. I get it. But let's move forward. I'm trying to show you the similarities, and we're going to get into the differences, which we're going to talk about. Like, for example, Integrity Now News. I mean, I want to hear what Integrity Now News has to say about all this. Okay, so here's a question somebody has. I have a question. If Chille got robbed or beat up, would he call the cops? I mean, I don't know, PTW Media. You have to ask him. My impression is that he is a guy who wants to defend himself. And I think that because of that, he would prevent a more difficult target to rob. My impression is if you present yourself as a difficult target, most people who are predators like that, who will try to sort of prey upon the innocent, or people, who are actually hard workers or whatever, they're usually cowards, and they're not going to target someone who presents themselves as a target. So I would have to know more about the factual scenario that you're getting into. But it's a great question. So put it in the comments, guys, if you can come up with some scenarios that we can help PTW Media come up with a better answer. And then, yes, and I agree. Make America great again by freeing Chille. I love BZ Watchdog. He's the man, always out there making it happen. So anyways, we'll just really quick get through this. So Chille DeCastro against the deep state. So we know that President Trump and Donald Trump both hate the deep state. They hate the administrative state. They're total natural law. At least we know for sure Chille's a natural law guy. My issue with Trump is that he was always a Democrat until he was a Republican, but he really governed like a Democrat, except on like three key issues. One being Second Amendment, one being freedom of religion, and the other one being, against the military-industrial complex, like things that somebody like me would support, because I'm more like a libertarian sort of a thinker. Like, let's look after our own people first, and once we're in a good position and we're healed, then we can talk about taking care of everybody else in the world, right? By the way, I love this stuff. It's called Spindrift. Really outstanding. It's got real fruit juice in it. Try to get the stuff that's got the real stuff in it. Just a little bit of fruit juice, but not enough to where it's giving you an insulin spike there, BZ Watchdog. It's called the No Insulin Spike. No insulin spike. Take care of yourself, brother. Now, DeCastro shares a belief that the existence of a deep state undermines individual freedoms and constitutional rights. And tangentially, or it kind of looks like Trump thinks that way too. And I would guess as a businessman, he probably does think that way, right? Because if you've ever been in business and dealt with all the red tape and garbage, you're not going to be a big fan of government. I used to be a contractor. My father was also a contractor before me. And I remember having to always meet with the building contractors. and how that was always, you're on the edge because they can hold up your project, right? And you're typically, what you're doing is you're on a bank loan. I just want to give you guys an idea of how business is, because most people are clueless. So you got a bank draft. You go to a bank, you say, hey, I want to build, I found this property, I'm going to buy it with your money, and I'm going to build out 50 lots. And out of those lots, we're going to make this much money, and we're going to do it this quick. And after a certain time, we're going to run into what they call, I guess, arrears. There's like at some point, the loan becomes like hyper accelerated, right? You say, look, you give me this money, I'm going to build this bad chicken, and I'm going to sell it like tomorrow. I'm going to dig the forms, pour the concrete, put the pipes in, everything, get it done, throw up the sticks, everything, guys. And what would happen is that didn't always happen, because those bureaucrats, those power hungry bureaucrats, would have enough to stop that. And so now that bank loan is ticking away, right? And now your subs, they're not making money because they can't get paid till you get your draft. You following me? So now they're going out and they're doing other stuff, or becoming, they're chronic alcoholics like a lot of subs are. And so by the time that building inspector comes back and gives you approval, which they probably should have given you already to begin with, now the subs are gone. You got to hire someone else. So I'm just telling you guys. So a guy like a Trump or a Chille, they both understand how government interferes with freedom. It's almost like a license to interfere with free thinkers and the people who are actually paying their very paychecks. So some people find that very offensive, as did our founding fathers. So Chille actively campaigns against what he sees as the deep administrative state. And he tries to mobilize support against perceived deep state actions. Now, Chille is also a very well-known activist, and he challenges perceived government overreach as part of, he advocates for civil liberties. That's what he does. It's part of his persona. He's good at it. He's really good. I mean, all you guys that are here, I would say 99% of you are here because you know that he's a badass, and he fights, that he really does believe what he's saying. And my dad always told me, always be defined. And I believe in that, And Chille's also a guy, just because him and I don't agree on everything, for sure. But we're still friends. So that's something you got to also think about too. If you really want to make change, you're never going to agree with everyone on everything, nor should you want to, because you're not moving for change, you're moving for the Borg. Nobody wants to be the Borg. Now, in this particular case, Chille has faced a lot of legal scrutiny and claims, and a lot of people are saying that his trials are politically motivated. And we know from that, I think it was the March 4th congressional report that showed that the FBI has been illegally data mining and going through all of our bank records to see what our Second Amendment activities are, if we're buying guns, or if we're shopping at Dick's or Cabela's, or if we're even buying a Bible, or if you're a single issue voter, or if your social media posts mention things like FJB, then you too are a potential domestic violent extremist. And there's a video on my channel. I think it's a video. I don't think it's a live, where I talk about it, and it's 1000% true. It's our own Congress caught him again. This isn't the first time. And so we know that within the government, there are these agencies like these SEIU, like unionized type agencies, that do not like the Bill of Rights. They are a Hobbesian type of institution within an institution. It used to be called a fifth column for you older people who remember things like this, or people who are well read. And we know that the head of the FBI, the guy who indexed the library system, what was his name, Hoover, that he had dirt on all the presidents, and he was able to stay in power because of that, by blackmailing government agents. Well, why couldn't he do that? Why is that not? You think that's not still happening? Okay, so let's get into it. So basically, we know that Chille is saying that Judge Zimmerman is biased in his rulings, and that has led to unjust convictions. And so what are those rulings? So Chille is saying that because the judge was at one time married to somebody who was a policeman, as well as now being married to the ACLU, that it's like a political power thing. And it's making it impossible, I guess, to find like a civil rights type of an activist lawyer. I'm not licensed in Nevada, so I can't really do much but just advocate on his behalf for him to find someone. And I'm sure, and I have actually had some on treatises with people trying to offer assistance, but so far we have not found the right match. But I think that in this particular case, now, when I posted this today, guys, this is really cute. So I posted this today because I knew that there was going to be a ruling, and I knew that because there was like 150% chance he'd be convicted based upon the fact that that area of Manhattan is like 140% plus Democrat. There was no way that there was no way that Trump wasn't going to be convicted. I mean, I think we all kind of knew that, and that's why, again, they bring cases in, Democrat areas, and again, that's why Republicans bring their cases in Republican areas, and I think it's pretty well known now that the judiciary is pretty much activist. There's no attempt anymore to hide it. I don't think both sides. I think probably the libertarian side, which there's not very many of us, are the only ones who want it to be straight shooters because we don't want it to happen to us. But because we get it, because it could, we don't want that. Come on, stop weaponizing the judiciary, guys. This is a problem. So, hey, PTW Media, I love it. I love members of the press. And I did this really cool video the other day, and it's on the Delete Laws channel, and it points to the Citizen Review Board. And I'm just really curious to see about these 900 publicly accessible officer complaints that nobody's accessed yet. I'd love to see some of them to see what's going on in Nevada, because it's got one of the greatest perks of all the states. And in this case, based upon the footage I've seen from both of Chille's arrests, if this was in California, these would be DA rejects, in my opinion. And so I'm a little curious and a little bit concerned. And as I start seeing the parallels between what happened with Trump today and what happened with Chille a couple days back or a couple months ago, I'm seeing the weaponization, in my opinion, of in some way of the administrative state against we the people more and more at an accelerated level. And I want to sort of highlight these things because if you know someone who's unpopular, like you have that old uncle who you just hate his guts, or an aunt that you don't like, or somebody who's got a hormone problem or whatever, the people who really need your sympathy you hate the most. That's the problem. And so people want to attack them and throw them under the bus because of their politics or because of their dogmatic beliefs. And that's the last person you want to do that to, guys, because that's how the enemy, that's how Lucifer, that's how Hobbes, that's how the Leviathan gets his foot into the door, right? Gets his foot into that partially open door. You can't do that. You got to put on the legal armor of God, so to speak, and do that to protect yourself and your family. So that's why I wanted to do this, because what I wanted to point out, guys, is I know that everybody hates this dude. All right, I get it. A lot of people hate Trump. A lot of people hate Chille. I get it. A lot of people love him, right? A lot of people love him a lot. So there's a polarizing effect. So just keep in mind that now that this has happened, right? Just watch for the next convictions. Like when someone goes after a Biden or an Obama, right? They'll find a way to go after them in like some conservative state. I don't know where that is anymore, but if there is a conservative state, maybe Oklahoma, right? But just watch for that happening. I'm just telling you guys, this is really, really bad. It reminds me of the Mexican PRI, the PRI party of like the 80s, where they were rigging their voting machines to get unpopular people into power based on money, and they're all working with the cartels. And now we know that the cartels are working with corrupt border people, and we see it happening in real time. And Basically, Border Patrol agents soliciting a trespass into the United States. Unbelievable what's going on. So let's take a look here. Now, Kevin, I agree with you, and Jay Curvet, I appreciate you coming out today. Now, BZ Watchdog says that he just submitted another records request for Brandon the Dork Borg. So let's backtrack a little bit. If you go to the Delete Laws YouTube channel, you'll see that I did an expose on what's going on with the Nevada Citizens Review Board. And basically that was created to sort of countermand the fact that IA never acted on any of these internal complaints and just let all these bad cops off the hook. At least that's what victims are saying, right? But they're saying nothing to see here. So they put this Citizen Review Board in place with these bloated salaries, right? There's always some new government job that comes along with this, where someone's cousin or family member or daughter, right, gets something out of it, right? No, right? Think about come on, guys. So that's what's going on. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So you got all that stuff happening, and you have the Citizen Review Board not acting on, like, I think only 8 of these complaints or something. It's on the Delete Laws channel. I can't remember everything. I have put in a call to one of the lead reporters, an investigative journalist. Not heard back. Don't know if I will. Doesn't really matter, because that research has now led BZ Watchdog, and BZ Watchdog doesn't let go. And of course, again, BZ Watchdog is not somebody who supports Trump at all. And I'm not a big Trump supporter. My dad hated Trump, but he supported a lot of his policies, like the border policies, which I think most reasonable people supported a lot of his policies. I believe that. Forgive me. I think the biggest issue with Trump is a lot of people just didn't like him. They thought he was a dick. They thought he was a punk. But I think most people agree that he was a better leader and had better policies than Joe Biden. I think that's pretty much universally accepted. And that's all I'm going to say as far as that's about as political as I want to get about this, because this is more about personalities and freedom fighters like this William Wallace guy that I always talk about, and the effect that they have on the public at large. And the problem is that real game changers are polarizing. And I just don't know what the answer is. And so I'm asking my audience, especially my private contributors, if we can come up with a brainstorm, a meeting of the minds, where we can figure out a way to come together on some key things. Oh, easy watchdog. Rick Jonesy. Rick, I never said he wasn't, man. That's what I hate about you guys sometimes, is like, look, I'm using two extremes. We have Chille, who a lot of people can't stand on the Republican and Democrat side. Then we have Trump, who pretty much universally every Democrat hates. And then, like, a lot of civil libertarians can't stand him either. We saw that Trump actually went to the Libertarian Convention and he got booed off the stage. But I guess what I'm getting at is at least he had the balls to do it. And look, man, I don't care what you guys have to say. The guy, at least he had the balls to do it. And I see parallels like that with Chille. So, and you never see me trying to like throw a wedge or anything, or like say that you're less of a person because of how you think. Because my goal here, especially on this channel, especially with my kids, showing them how I think, is to give everyone a fair shake and let you take a look at it for yourself, so you can see unpopular people are going to have polarizing effects. And the people who hate Chille automatically think that this was a just conviction. The people who love him automatically think that it wasn't just. Now, I'm somebody, honestly, look, I care about the guy, but I've seen the evidence for myself. I don't believe that either conviction or arrest was just. I believe the arrests were improper. And I believe that proper motions to suppress and other things could have obviated many of these problems. And I just want all of you people to really, really be careful when you're out there and follow me and try to learn more. I'm going to have some other expert attorneys, civil rights guys, and criminal defense lawyers in your state who can come on and kind of talk about things, because government accountability operations are the most dangerous, I think. I think they're going to become among the most dangerous in the world. Trying to hold your government accountable. We already see governments on a national and international scale trying to create their own ministries of truth. They're trying to say what information and disinformation is. They're trying to filter that into the public school system to brainwash the kids into thinking that only official source, like the source from the newspaper run by the billionaire who pays all the politicians off, is the actual true information. So my goal is to make you guys think. I don't care how you vote or even if you vote at all. But I really want people on my channel and my kids and other people, the posterity of this country, to remember, if they ever watch this video 20 years from now, that I was able to actually show something that really is relevant and important. This will probably get swiped from the internet at some point by the communist Chinese. But in the meantime, take a look at it and save it to your computer. Now, let me look in the sidebar because I want to be active and talk with all the people in my audience. BZ Watchdog says, someone sounding like a Republican racist. Oh boy. Real J Rockstar, how do I tell my kids to handle police? Do you really want to know, brother? I say, don't get pulled over. That's what I say. Don't get pulled over. And my long-term plans are to, God willing, get them to a safer place like a third world country where we have more security. But in the meantime, there are some states that you can move to that have open carry as part of their constitution and real easy to get concealed carry. And, you can take your kids to the range and teach them, archery, martial arts, teach them those things. Because the main goal here, guys, in self-defense, especially for you ladies, is to always present a hard target. Always present yourself as a difficult target, as a potential threat back. And always vary your schedule to where you become someone who doesn't create a pattern. And I do recommend with your phones that you, and we'll talk about this in next episodes, use a Faraday bag and turn your phone off whenever you're not using it and put it in a Faraday bag until we can come up with some other ideas. But I just think that there's so much unlawful, what our founding fathers would deem to be just completely scandalous spying going on right now because of these things, that it's deadly what's coming for us. And we need to be careful, everybody. So let's just move forward. Now, this is what they're saying with Chile. They're saying that, similar to Trump, Chile's issue is that the ACLU has the judge married to the president of the ACLU. And I guess he's the same guy who represented the judge in an ethics battle that apparently she prevailed in, which is great. I mean, sounds like a great lawyer. And and I'm only narrating this. I'm not trying to say that there's any violation here, because I mean, honestly, if it was me and I cared about someone and I wanted to marry him, I wouldn't care who they were. I'd marry him, right? That's what we do as men, right? And I'm sure the ladies are no different. So I'm not judging anyone. I'm just telling you that is the allegation. Now, Donald Trump and Judge Merchan. We know that ever since the vote counters and everybody were, covering all the windows up with the cardboard boxes, and post office trucks with trailers were pulling up with big boxes in the back in the middle of the night, and vote counts were changed in the middle of the night, that a lot of people don't trust the results of the election. And so the other side's trying to paint them as conspiracy theorists and whack jobs, and they're saying, no, we saw it with our own eyes. Don't do that to us. So there's like this big fight now, right? So I keep telling y'all, like, if you really want to change this, stop throwing dirt on each other and say, look, I don't trust what happened. Let's find a way to come to terms so that doesn't happen again. But instead, it's just this big fight over let's keep it the same. Let's keep it the same. And give me a bunch of ones if you think that's unfair. Because if one side's expressing an outrage, rather than chastise them and light them up and gaslight them, I think it's better that we try to address their concerns. I think as a good leader, as a good king, that's what I would do. Put it in the comments if you were a king, you would do that to make sure that all the nobles and everyone in your shire would feel like they were getting proper representation. That way you would keep your head off the pike. Let me take a look in the sidebar really quick, guys. Now, BZ Watchdog is talking about Nevada and conspiracy, and I want to know more about that. But look, guys, we know that Citizens Review Board didn't really do a whole lot, and we know that there's a lot of officers, like the one that I mentioned in that video. In this particular case, he was trying to put a hit out on his wife who he was getting divorced from. And we know that Chille always complains about that, about, wife beaters and, how they have a higher statistical average of being abusive to their wives. And then I see all this video about Lake Mead and all these 50-gallon drums with bodies in them, and they're saying it's the mafia. And I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute. You think that it's just mafia? I mean, think about that, guys. Put it in the comments if you think it was just mafia, because who's the mafia? Who did they hire when they were running Nevada? So anyways, the bottom line is Trump is saying that Judge Merchan is, issuing like bogus jury instructions where they won't even let the jury read them when they're actually in deliberations. Like normally, like for me as a California lawyer, we do the cases and the judge, like we'll agree on the jury instructions between me and opposing counsel and the judge will agree on jury instructions. And then those jury instructions, once there's an agreed upon set, will be signed off by the judge and the jury gets to have those in the deliberation room. I mean, this case didn't even have the appearance of fairness, in my opinion, as a California lawyer. Now, I don't know what the New York rules are. So put it in the comments if you're a New York practitioner and you can tell me if it's normal to not allow the jury instructions to be in the jury room, the deliberation room, in a criminal felony case with this many potential charges. Not that it would matter, again, based upon the demographics, you could see that there was probably no Republicans on the jury. And so many experts are saying he never had a chance. And they've been saying that since the beginning of the case. So let's take a look over here in the sidebar. Hey, Chevy F. Bork and BZ Watchdog's talking about the mafia. And I agree. I think that the mafia probably ran Nevada better. I heard that in a comment the other day. And so I've been doing some research. Seems like it was probably more productive and there was less bloat, that's for sure. Those guys didn't mess around, man. And I think, based on some of the stuff I've read, they actually helped out the U.S. government in the war quite a bit, in World War II quite a bit, and World War I, as I recall. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Put it in the comments if I'm wrong. Give me a bunch of ones if I'm right. Give me a bunch of twos if you miss Chille. Now, let's take a look really quick in the sidebar. Now, they do. They have a mob museum downtown. That's right. And there's a like a Mexican restaurant, BZ, in Nevada that has, I guess, it's got like pictures of mobsters all over it, and they give out like the super good tequila, the good stuff. And I guess one of the owners was like, I guess like a Mexican guy who was involved in the mafia or something, and that's how the family ended up owning that restaurant. There's some history behind it. I don't know. There's some really cool history in Nevada. There's also this amazing Marine Corps museum. It's the biggest one, the best one, with a bar in it on the West Coast. Super cool. Now, Brick Jonesy hates Trump, so I want to give props out to Brick. I want people to understand that this is like not a partisan page, okay? I don't want partisan people here who want to take sides over political beliefs. In rare occasion, will that be an issue for me? Because if it's an immoral thing, that exceeds the bounds of politics and becomes something improper. And Brick and I agree on those types of things 1,000,000%. So let's take a look. Will J Rockstar 1212. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So let's take a look. Ghostman, I really appreciate you coming out today. And Jay DeWitt, I do not have Chille's next court date available, but I know that the appellate court is going to allow, from what I understand, it to be videotaped. And that the appellate court in this case, and I could be a million times wrong, but I think that they did issue an order. They want this case to be public. Now, I want to get back into the comparisons and just finish this slideshow really quick. It's just that I get sidetracked because I like to interact with the people in the sidebar. So forgive me. This is not like a regular video, guys. If you're expecting like all these edits and stuff, maybe someday I'll make them into shorts. But right now, I just like talking to people in the sidebar. So give me a second. All right. So Brick Jonesy says he doesn't hate him. I get you, brother. I know what you mean. When I say you hate him, like you just have this extreme distaste, well, I'm an old school guy, so I know what you mean. Like you don't, I get it. But he went Republican after claiming independent. Yeah, well, that's what he does. Yeah, Trump was always, as far as I know, he's always been a liberal Democrat. He's always voted that way. He just did what was best for Trump, and probably his tangential support for things that we believe in, like the Second Amendment, or religious freedom, or safe borders, things like that. He probably supports because he knows, or he knew that he could get support, and probably because he's dealt with all these bureaucrat scumbags like I had to deal with when I was a contractor. Like, gosh, man, like those who can do, those who can't get a government job, right? That's what a lot of people tell me. But oh, look at this. Yeah. So BZ Watchdog says that they have a former mob lawyer. And yeah, I get it. I get it. I've heard that. Oh, wow. Look at this. So BZ Watchdog saying Oscar Goodman is the former mayor of Las Vegas and former mob lawyer. Guys, give me a bunch of ones if you think I'm in the wrong business. Maybe I should be a mob lawyer. Because right now, trying to stand up for the little guy has not been paying well. I'll tell you that right now. So, thank you, BZ. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Oh, and thanks, Chevy. Thank you, guys. It means a lot to me. Thank you. So Chevy just donated $5 to the YouTube Gunner, hopefully next green belt campaign that hopefully is coming up. So let me give you guys an update since you're kind of part of that whole deal. So right now Gunny is down in El Salvador, but we're going to get him back, and I want to get him into the Olympics. I'm really hoping, praying. So pray for me, guys who are religious, that we get Gunner onto the Olympic thing, doing tournaments, because I think it'll be really good for him. Really great way for a young man, especially in this society, to learn honor, spirit, discipline. Don't really want him going in the Marines as much as I want him to. I kind of don't. I think guys like BZ understand where I'm coming from. But yeah, I really appreciate that, BZ. Thanks a lot, man. Let me go down the list here. Yeah, Grateful Dabs. Well, that is an issue. So, and this is something we can talk about with Alan Beck. So, Grateful Dab says Trump wants red flag laws. Says he likes to take their guns first and litigate it later. That's not very pro-2A. Well, anything is more pro-2A than what Joe Biden's doing, guys. I mean, what he's doing, the judges that he's appointing, I mean, forget about it. The Second Amendment's gone with another term like this. It's been disastrous. The judges that he's appointing, watch for the Heller decision to evaporate, just like our borders evaporated as soon as Biden reversed all of Trump's executive orders to shelter in place. Like within days, there were taxpayer-funded nonprofits going down to Central and South America, recruiting illegal aliens to come across so they could come up and offering them free cell phones. So that's political. That's not fair. It's not fair to guys like us who served in the military, to just let people come across and count them in the census, against things like to raise my taxes and to make my life more difficult, make things more expensive for me. Make them get in line and make them earn their keep, just like you would if you joined the military, right? Like stand in line and just prove that you're not a threat to me and my family. That's all I'm asking for. Give me a bunch of ones if you think that's fair. All I want is just to know that the people coming into my country aren't a threat, especially to my little daughter, right? Especially when you want to put judges in power that want to take away my firearms. Give me a bunch of ones if you think that's fair. Give me a bunch of twos if you think that I'm crazy for saying that, because I don't think that that's unreasonable. But I want to know if I'm a crackpot. Maybe I'm like the guy from A Beautiful Mind, right, with the stuff all over the wall. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm like the guy from Suicidal Tendencies, who wants the Pepsi. I'm not crazy. The institution. Like all I wanted was a Pepsi. Remember that, guys? So just really quick, I want to look at the ones really quick first. Make sure. Hey, I got a bunch of ones, but Will Rockstar gave me a 2. All right, so I got you, man. All right, no respect. Huh? All right, Will Rockstar. Hey, no, let me. All right, Ghost Man. Thanks, Mama Lion. I do appreciate you guys supporting me. It really feels great. So let me move on to the slideshow. So we know that the ACLU, at least, has sometimes defended Trump's rights on specific issues, but for sure, Democrats support any kind of legal action against Trump. And if you don't like Trump, you support any kind of legal action against Trump. And I get it, but that is not, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, is someone who is a historian and someone who is a fan of World War II, World War I, Civil War, war between the states, if you want to call it that. Like, I just think that trying to use government agencies to throw your political opponents in jail, that's the end of a civil society. You're leading towards Khmer Rouge. They don't even talk about the Holocaust anymore in a lot of the public schools. I mean, I'm outraged by that. It's crazy. I have a lot of friends who are Jewish. I'm terrified what's happening right now to them. They can't even walk on a college campus in some parts of the country, without trying to conceal who they are. I just don't think that's right, man. Totally unsat. Anyways, so let's just keep going. So here's the other similarity. Let's take a look. Hey, April Rain, good seeing you. We both know that Trump and Chile think that it was a rigged decision. And so here's, right? We both know that Trump and Chile think that it was a rigged decision in this case. We know that Trump and Chile think that they were targeted by the system. And I have shown you evidence that law enforcement is going after First Amendment auditors for sure. And they're trying to say that they're all sovsits and crazy common law whack jobs. And these people are crazy people and they need to be locked up. And they did a roundup operation a couple months ago that we covered, I think in Riverside, that Easy Watchdog and I exposed. And so we know what's happening. And so all I'm saying is, guys, be careful what you wish for, because it could happen to your man too. And I don't want to take political sides on this one, because I think it's pretty obvious to most lawyers who are unbiased about, they can detach themselves, that this is all of the stuff that's been going on is politically motivated. I mean, it's without question against both of these guys. And to Chile, it's probably an after the fact politics, because once they capture him and they look him up and find out who he is, and then all of the people who hate Chile start sending emails to the police chief, to the judge, pretending like they're Chile supporters, for example, right? To make Chile look bad and to castigate him. I probably said it wrong. You guys know what I mean. So don't set aside psyops, guys. Don't assume everything is as it appears to be. Okay, that's all I'm asking you to do. Assume that after this guy gets arrested, Chille, he's facing the same thing where you've got probably people at the highest levels. It could even be police unions who know about this guy and they want to make an example of him. And I'm just saying, don't excuse that as a potential possibility. And now he's on the national level. I mean, if you Google Chille DeCastro or delete laws, he's nationwide, he's international, he's been mentioned in large news publications. He is, in fact, a game changer. So, in any event, does anybody have any other questions for me? Let me know. I hope that the people who hate Trump won't hold against me that I tried to make a comparison to the similarities and some of the differences between Trump and Chille. But I thought that it was appropriate because it gives an example of how even the appearance of impropriety in our justice system can polarize one side over another. And that means that one side of the represented feels as though they're not getting proper representation. And that is what historically leads to the destruction of a civilized society. And that's what I don't want because we have systems in place already that if were run by good men and incentives were taken away to cheat, could potentially, revive the republic. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind. Now, let me just take a look in the sidebar really quick. Now, holy moly, wait a minute. BZ Watchdog is telling me that Brett Ray donated 10 memberships, but I thought that was yesterday. Are you kidding me? How could that be? Why would Brett Ray do that? I mean, I'm doing a video talking about how Chille and Trump are unpopular, and I thought that I was going to lose probably all of my audience saying, how dare you compare Chille to Trump? But I thought it was cool because I think it makes sense because I hope that you guys who are starting to take a liking to me can see I'm just saying, like if one of my brothers got locked up or whatever, or they had some political difference with me, I wouldn't care. I just want you to see that, Let me just take a look really quick here. I would just be there for them. Brett Ray, thank you. Gifted 10 Michael Ehline injury membership. You guys are going to make my kids wealthy. You're making me shed a little bit of water here, Brett Ray. Someday I'd like to meet you. Maybe go to the gun range and I'll cover the day. Do like a squad automatic weapon or something. Put a 40 on it. Do something like that too. I really do appreciate it a lot. I've made a lot of friendships with a lot of the different gun ranges throughout Nevada and Texas. We don't even do California much anymore, except for this one range we support, which is the Lytle Creek gun range up in the San Bernardino Mountains. So if you ever want to go shooting out in San Bernardino, please go out there and support that gun range. They stood tall for my dad. That means a lot to me. Thank you, Brett Ray, and thank you, BZ, for being the sentinel and letting me know. Thank you, Chevy, for supporting my fam. And don't join the mob this week. Now, tomorrow, guys, I'm going to do tomorrow. My goal is to do this story about whether or not you can sue police for those strobe lights causing epileptic seizures. Because one of my viewers is, I think, one of our paid contributors. If he's not, someone buy this man a membership, but I think he is. Was talking about that. I'm not going to reveal his name because I don't share confidential communications with people. Best way to lose friends is to share the secrets that they gave you. Don't ever do it, guys, no matter how tempting it is. It's not a good, it's in bad form, and it's really low class. It's very demonic. It's demonic because someone's sharing their soul with you, and you're destroying that bond, that spiritual bond of faith. Not a good thing. Don't do it. Now, yeah, Grateful Debs agreed. Yeah, he is the worst. What a piece of garbage, this guy. Horrible. And I guess I'm kind of a single issue guy. I'm more about Second Amendment because I don't need anybody as long as I'm able to have plenty of ammo and well-educated neighbors being able to form a close or a loose confederation, if you prefer, with fellow and like-minded people in case of emergency. I know there's like 10 vets down the street, that are Marines, and we can help look after each other and each other's families, form fire watches and everything else. So it's a good thing. That's why I always say, everybody try to become friends with a Marine, because even when we're out, we just really want to be sheepdogs. BZ, tell me if I'm wrong. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys know anyone in the military, especially Marines, who think that way. Now, let's get on with this bad chicken. Now, for everyone else, I have not heard from Philly, at least not today, and I don't have any new updates to share with you about anything going on with him. But I do encourage everyone who has been on the show today to go and take a look at the video that I did, especially if you're someone who wants to learn about doing public records requests at the state level. We were able to uncover that there are a lot of public records requests that Nevada is giving, at least Nevada Police or IA or their Citizens Review Board, whoever they are, whoever they're trying to get the records from, are giving people holy hell and trying not to release the data, claiming things like active investigation, just like you see at the federal level, where they'll say, oh, it's still an active investigation, so we can't release the results until the statute of limitations runs out. But they have to wait until the statutes of limitations runs out with their investigation. And that's what they did in one of the Hunter Biden cases. And so look, I'm trying to be nonpartisan here, but guys, when that stuff happens, it really looks partisan. And so, like, you can be Democrat or whatever and go, well, I'm a Democrat. I love it, when they get an unfair advantage. You could be a Republican. Say, I love it when they get an unfair advantage. But you really shouldn't be rooting for that. That's all I'm trying to tell you. You should be rooting for fairness, and you should want to put judges on the bench who are apolitical. You don't want these political judges, because half the population isn't going to buy it. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. So don't accuse me of being an orange man guy, an orange man good, or an orange man bad. I don't believe that politicians were given wings to become angels. They're just humans. So, yeah, so I'm looking at everybody. So let me just try to look at everyone's comments, because I know it's been about an hour and we're all getting tired. So, conservative justices on the Fourth Amendment. I don't know, Joseph, and I'm with you. I mean, there's some problems there. I think that we need more libertarian-minded justices, but you're not going to get them by voting for people like Joe Biden. You're going to get somebody who can't even define the difference between a male or a female. You're not going in the right direction, homie. I'm just telling you. But I'm with you. But I want to get out of the politics and more into. I hope you all enjoyed the discussion, and I hope that you understood what my goal was, which was to say, look, all these people who hate Chille are glad that he got locked up, and all you people who love him are not happy that he got locked up. And now there are some of you who are lawyers like me who are thinking to themselves, how the hell did this guy get locked up? And you're even seeing it just the other day. A Southern Drawl Law guy, I did a expose on one of his videos, and yeah, I mean, there's plenty of lawyers out there, and they're all saying the same thing. This guy was a former cop he puts out videos that are totally not supportive that much of Chille. And we're seeing more and more and more. And a lot of guys don't want to say anything because they know that they'll get attacked, or their businesses will get targeted if they say anything good about Chille, which is all the more reason to support him, right? Give me a bunch of ones. You think that's all the more reason to support Chille. The fact that there's whole segments of society that are trying to attack people that support him. That should tell you something, guys. I mean, gosh, for crying out loud. So now let's get into this. Yeah, everybody still loves chili. Everybody still loves chili. Right on, Mama Lion. So Kevin Briniarski says, everybody loves chili. And it's true, and I've told you guys this before. The first couple of videos, I was like, this guy is so obnoxious. Can't stand this guy. I tuned him out, and then I popped up again in my stream. I was watching him. I was like, he's got a point. And then by the fourth or fifth video, I was like, you know what? I got to call this guy. So it was a slow thing, but it just caught on. And look, I did my research. I understand all the negative things. And I understand that a lot of the things are taking him out of context or getting him when he's in a bad state or whatever, just like all of us do. But, you can tell people. You can read people's aura, their, what do they call that? I don't know what that thing's called, but when I was growing up, my mom said, everybody has this thing that they throw off. And she was good at reading people's auras. Some people call it the gift of discernment or whatever. And, sometimes you just need that crazy psycho wild man to lead you and to spur you into battle. And that's just the way it is. That's what a game changer does. So anyways, now Wanda, apparently, who is a dude. Now, Wanda, I want to make sure you're actually a dude, because Wanda is normally a dude's name, or normally a female name and not a dude's name. But somebody called me to the carpet today and said, you're a dude. You've been so kind to not call me out and say that that's not true, unless I've just not noticed it. But in any event, I'm super happy that we have a group of people who support the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Articles of Confederation, Magna Carta, people who understand our history, and who still join me here on my channel. And it's been very, very difficult. I work long hours and I get up super early, and this has been a real drag on me. So it makes me happy when you like and subscribe and share, because at least I can show my kids, look, it's paying off. We're building something cool. We're getting the word out about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And sometimes you got to stand up for the unpopular little guy. Sometimes you have to do that, even though it's unpopular and it might not seem right to other people. You got to do it anyways. Because if not you, who? If not you, who's going to do it, guys? Who's going to do it? Who's going to stand up for the little guy? It helps when you have the ability to fund it, visiting people in jail on the weekends and stuff. It's not easy when you're trying to raise a family, Just helps when you have the ability to do it. That's all I'm saying, Anyways, any of you guys who have been in jail, you understand, getting mail, or in the military, getting mail, being able to go to the PX or the commissary. It's all you got, Think about that. It's terrible. So anyways, I think we're going to go ahead and call it a night. So everybody, I am going to go ahead and circle off. At this time, I want to throw in some kind of cool music or something. Let's do the Patriot music. Let's check this out. Checking myself out. I lost my military bearing by allowing my eyeballs to click over to the right. I'm sad. Anyways, guys, so Team DLZ, we don't stop. So everybody, give me a bunch of OTVOs. I want everybody to go and donate money to Chille's channel. I also want delete laws. I want you to consider getting a cop card, getting some cop cards, buying some cop cards for your friends. If anything, just buy them, because someday you're going to be able to sell those bad chickens over at the, what do they call that? That History Channel pawn shop, Pawn Stars. Someday those are going to be worth 50, 60 grand a piece once he's the governor of Nevada, right? So buy a bunch of those things for a friend, for a family member, to store it away. Do whatever you can to support him and his channel while he suffers. Keep in mind that going to jail doesn't just mean going to jail. It means losing your business, potentially losing your family, your ability to support yourself. It's no laughing matter. And stacking 290s like that, I'm telling you right now, based on Chille's research, it's the first time the court ever did that. And I just feel really bad for Chille, and I think that it was unfair what happened to him. Give me a bunch of ones if you think what happened to him was unfair too. And thank you, April. So April Rain says, I donated today on both, and I really appreciate that. And I just don't want anybody to lose interest. And I thought that the Trump convictions today would shed some light on what a lot of people are saying are political show trials and the weaponization of the administrative state and the judiciary in order to silence political opposition, along with social media, the CIA, the FBI, and a lot of people are seeing it happen. The stories, the reports, the congressional investigations are getting buried. But there's a few people, at least 40, who showed up today who are aware of it and at least are listening to what I have to say. And by the way, guys, don't think for a minute that this channel isn't going to be throttled, isn't going to be shadow banned. And so I'm asking you to make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button and share this and make sure it goes to as many of your friends and family members, and make sure that when they open these videos up, that they download and share these videos and make sure they have a permanent record, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. We know that once they flood this country with peasants from third world countries and allow them the right to vote and just keep offering them free things, that your vote and my vote will no longer count. It will basically be slaves to this whole new generation of people that were brought in for the purposes of making sure people who don't believe in what we believe in will forever keep us in chains and keep us in slavery. And I don't want that for any of us. So, Brett, as far as an address, please reach out to BZ Watchdog for anything that we don't want to out people online and stuff like that as a general rule. And that's right. And Brick Jonesy, that's right. He says, know your rights, learn the law. Keep in mind tomorrow night, my intentions are that I will get on and I will talk about the case where could you sue law enforcement for strobe lights causing you to have an epileptic seizure. And I'll discuss some scenarios where you might just be able to do that and win. And these are things that most lawyers don't talk about or want to take the time to talk about. So I really appreciate you joining my channel, because now I'm telling my kids, okay, go do the research. Get back to me and let's work on this project together. So it's given me an opportunity to help my kids learn the law and then pass that on to you after I do my analysis and edit and do all those things. But so I think it's just a really, really cool thing that you guys are all helping me, and I'm giving you an opportunity as well to learn from a well-trained lawyer who ideologically is someone who supports natural law, natural rights. And as you know, most lawyers don't think that way anymore, unfortunately. And so I consider myself to be unique among men, and I'd like to be able to help people who think similarly to me. Give me a bunch of ones if you support natural law and the concept of limited government. Now, let me just look in the sidebar one more time before I say my final goodbyes. That's right, Kevin. Stand up for your rights, do your petitions. And thank you, Michael. It's really good to see you again, bro. I haven't seen you in a while. I was worried that I pissed you guys off or something. And I am a patriot. I love my country more than anything. And I'm so saddened that our administrative agencies have, to a large degree, been taken over by people who hate the Constitution and who hate traditional families and family values and all the things that really made America such an amazing place. And it just saddens me so deeply. You have no idea. And it really, it hurts me inside sometimes, especially someone who volunteered to be in the Corps and was willing to sacrifice my life if I had to. It just really hurts. So thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. Yeah. That's right. Now, Diesel says, remember, always ask questions. How does the statutes and codes and regulations apply to me? Do not be absolute, vague, and ambiguous. So, and that's true. A lot of the statutes and codes are not really enforceable. The problem is, guys, is most of the misdemeanors and infractions don't get challenged. We just pay it because we know that a lawyer is going to cost too much. And so part of the goal that I had was to teach you guys so you'd understand your rights and how to do your own appeals, how to do your own briefs, maybe even become a lawyer on your own like I did. So you'd have that ability to be able to stand tall for yourself. And it could, because if we all work together, if you guys were all licensed attorneys and we worked together, I mean, for crying out loud, we could do a pro bono project and we could do some stuff that works. Now, I've heard there's guys out there like James Freeman, and I know a lot of people make fun of him. I don't know enough about him to make an opinion, but I know that from what I've heard, he uses a lot of the common law ideology, and that will be met with limited success depending on the court, the judge, the county that you're in, because sometimes you just have a really badass sheriff and they're going to go along with natural law, because that's really what it's all about. It's the acceptance by the system of your beliefs that make the system valid or not in your eyes. And that's something I've constantly been trying to share with you guys. So it's all about natural law. Do we want a grand Leviathan, centralized control over every aspect of our lives like George Orwell's novels warned us about? Or do we want natural law where the government can't take away our rights because they were granted by a creator who is almighty? And that's the deal. That's the battle. That's what this is all about. So now, Wanda, here's the deal. It depends on where you are and where you're at. There's going to be time, place, and manner restrictions on whether or not someone is going to be charged with 3 disorderly conducts and whether or not they can do things like make loud noises. Typically, a lot of people don't understand that municipal corporations and municipal charters basically grant the government an easement over certain private lands to do certain things or not. And because of that easement or that fictitious easement right, they're able to come in and conduct law enforcement operations. So this is a question that's going to be probably for a full-on video with a sidebar discussion to really be able to do this. So please remind me, Wanda, to put this on my list of questions that I need to answer. Now, the fact that you guys have bought so many memberships, I know that my wife is getting more and more hot on this idea that I keep doing this channel because my kids are like seeing in real time their efforts are paying off. And so literally, guys, if you keep doing this, we'll be able to build this into a news organization where we can teach people the law in a way that makes sense, where they're not confused going, oh, can I just hire you? That's not what I want. I don't want, oh, can I just hire you to do it? No, I want you to go, I get that. Thank you, Mike. And by the way, is there a lawyer in your group in my state who I can meet with or talk to more? That's what I want. I want to formulate. So once this channel gets powerful enough, we'll get like these highfalutin lawyers who are accepted as the best in the courts to want to join us. They'll just naturally want to, because unfortunately for us, most people are pop culture oriented. But with your help, we can do something where we can win their hearts and minds. Not everybody is a sheepdog, guys, so we can't hold it against them. But out of one comes many, and less than 3% of our founding fathers actually engaged in active participation during the revolution. Less than 3%. So think about that. Imagine that. Right now we have 32 people in here, and I keep saying that I'm going to check out. So that tells me that some people are holding on to the words that I say. And I hope that you understand that I've gained a lot of wisdom over these years, and that I like to put it to work helping this country become a better place. And I love it that my kids get to see me doing it at the same time. So, And I appreciate that, Michael. Michael says, I'm behind your idea completely. The hope is alive. So, well, I appreciate you guys also giving me a warm reception about the comparison between Trump and Chile, but it was purely being done on a basis of personalities and how they're just strong personalities are going to do that. You know, you're going to get your strong followers and your strong haters. But I am what you would call the swing voter, and my vote goes with natural law. Yeah, I don't see how a bunch of bureaucrats who went to one of these college campuses that burns American flags, I don't see how one of those people is going to be good on the bench. I don't see how one of those people is going to be a good politician. I see one of those people as being an entitled brat, and I don't want them anywhere near anything that has to do with controlling the business of we the people. And give me a bunch of ones if you agree with that. I think the academic state is slowly becoming the enemy of the American people. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So, yeah, thank you, Arm with Harmony. So, by the way, guys, shout out to me if you want to. Don't do it. I'm not an FBI guy or whatever. But tell me what state you're in. You know, give everybody an idea. Like, what country or what state are you in? I've got a guy from Sweden who comes on my channel and he supports natural law. And what binds us all together is natural law, guys. That's why we're here. And Arm with Harmony saying, I appreciate your willingness to teach. Screw student loans. Yeah, I agree. What a joke. Like these entitled punks. They get a degree in underwater basket weaving. And now you have these politicians saying, oh, I'll cancel your debt if you vote for me. And guys like me who had to hustle and sleep on park benches, I got to pay for that? You got to be freaking smoking crack, right? Like, why would I want to support that system? Why would you stay in California if your governor just started giving free health care to illegal aliens who didn't even earn their right to be in your state? They just came across and got free everything. Yeah, would you stay? Your taxes keep going up. What are you getting out of that? Like more crime? I mean, think about that, guys. I'm just telling people to be honest with themselves about reality, you know. Corona, California. Hell yeah, brother. So I'm going to actually, when we were doing the show, Alan Beck called me. So again, the game plan is to do the show about epileptic seizures and traffic stops tomorrow. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, if I can get Alan to come on tomorrow, I'm going to go with that one. Because Alan just scored a major victory. Again, Alan Beck is one of the top Second Amendment rights lawyers in the country. And he scored a major victory in Hawaii with knives and being able to carry bearable arms. And I'm just so proud of him, man. Like, such a champion for freedom and we the people. So everybody, Alan Beck, give him a bunch of ones. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, we the people news. Look, if any of you guys are journalists or have a news background and you're serious about this, you can see that I'm serious about it. I've devoted a lot of my time to trying to help educate people in the law and give them hope about the reality of the situation, that we could build our own parallel systems, we could fight back against the Leviathan. And if any of you are journalists or anybody wants to volunteer time to help build out the channel, man, I'm all ears. Any ideas that you have, as you can see, if somebody comes to me and they say, Mike, you're doing something wrong, you know, I may not go along with it at first, but I'm smart enough to know that if someone had a good idea that I should adapt that. Especially as I get older, I get wiser with the gray hair. So, you know, I'm down to help out in any way that I can. Reach out to BZ Watchdog. I also invite people to help him with his public records request project, because I think that is an amazing government accountability operation that is underserved in the auditor community. It's super, super important. Stop trying to just get likes and clicks. Do it for the right reasons. You'll get the likes and clicks later. That's what my dad always told me. Do a good job and all that other stuff, the money, all that'll come later. Just do a good job. Make sure people know they can trust you. That was all he would ever tell me. And that's absolutely true. Just do it, guys. Just do what my dad would have done. You'll be fine. You'll do just fine. So anyways, with that being said, Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. Semper Fi, do or die.